doing? How you doing? How's quarantine treating you?
It's good. It's
Yeah,
good. I'm actually just outside, getting some fresh air, um,
yeah.
about to do some errands and so forth, and then meet up with my family a little bit later for lunch.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so let's get into it. So welcome to NLA, Next Level with Adepoju. Now we're here with a great episode lined up. So this is two-time Afro-basket champion, six-year professional basketball player, and former D1 athlete. Joining us from Cali as well. I appreciate it's early as well, so thank you for that. Atonye Nyingifa. Welcome.
Yes.
Right.
Hello, everyone. I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Yes, it is a little bit early. I am on Cali time, so
Yeah.
but it's nice outside, so I got to get out, which is
Yeah.
fine.
No doubt, no doubt. So let's rewind back to college career. So playing in UCLA, Pac-12, there's the likes of Stanford, Oregon, Arizona. Describe the
Mhm.
experience for us, and how do you think that prepared you for pro basketball?
Yes, without a doubt, our conference is one of the top elite conferences. We have a lot of players that are coming from this conference, playing professionally, playing in the
Mm-hmm.
WNBA. So I think when I was there, my competitors were, of course, the Guamake sisters in Stanford. And so
Yeah.
that's who we kind of battled with. And I just feel like we have a really high playing level with high performance players. So I think it prepared me overall. It's really demanding, very intense. And I think that having that type of environment allowed me to move into my professional career a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. That's great. And obviously playing against, there'll be NBA players that obviously elevate your level of competition and preparation
Yeah.
as well. That's fantastic. And obviously, while you was there, you sustained two ACL tears.
hmm
Can you explain to us your mental mindset at the time, and what did you learn from your time out?
Yeah, so I had two ACL tears, 2009 and 2011.
Mm.
So kind of back to back. My first one was actually at the USA trials. I went to
Oh,
try try out, and I was invited to try out for Team USA. And the competition was very intense to the
mm,
point where someone ended up hitting me, and I ended up tearing my ACL. The second time was against Tennessee, which is a reputable team, and everybody knows them for Pat Summit.
mm,
Once again, somebody hit me in the air, and I tore my ACL. So at least I did it playing against top performance and top competition games.
mm,
But as far as the mental aspect that it took on me, I'm not gonna lie, I really did have or went into a sunken place because a lot of athletes don't understand what life without sports looks like.
mm.
We've never really been exposed to that. We're always basketball is really year round.
Yeah,
You don't really have an off season. You just have a small summer or what so. And even in that summer, you can still be playing games overseas, or
yeah,
you can be in a full time league.
yeah,
So during that downtime, I learned a lot about myself because I had to understand what my purpose was outside of basketball. What can I do other than basketball?
mm,
So it really allowed me to explore and to move into different avenues outside of athletics. But I'm not gonna lie, it did take a toll on me because to see my teammates, having fun on the court, and I'm
yeah.
just like, I was so eager to try to get back on the court to the point where my trainers, well, we were bumping heads. I
Mm,
said, I'm ready, and they're like, you're not. So,
yeah. I
um,
feel that. I feel.
and I didn't understand it at the time, but I do realize the process of recovery now. And I am thankful for everybody that was in my corner. And I am thankful because by tearing both ACLs, I was able to stay at UCLA and get my master's for
Mm,
a fifth year. So, something good did come out of it.
yeah,
But at the time, I was just like, oh, why me? But,
yeah.
blessing in disguise.
Blessing in disguise. Yeah,
Yeah,
obviously, from tough times, you got to try and take out the positives out of it as well. So you're always trying. Everything's a learning experience. But no, that's
absolutely.
fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. And obviously, sustaining those two injuries, did that force you to play a different way? Did you take that time out to learn the game the different? Okay, I can get a shot this way, or how did you take that? How did you take that injury?
Absolutely. One thing I was always a fast runner. I did track in high school, but
Still
after
up.
the
Still up.
injuries, I was not as fast. So my speed, this 0 to 100, it was just like 100 to 0. Okay. So I had to relearn how to run, which was the hardest.
Okay.
Because in my head, in my body, I felt like I was going fast. But in actuality, I was moving very slow. So that was one of the biggest
It
adjustments.
must have been a
And then,
shock.
yeah, I was like, man, I'm not making times. And I was really tough on myself at the time because, you know, I'm an elite player. So how is it that an elite player is struggling to run? But like I said, that's one of the mental aspects about an injury that a lot of athletes don't think about. You're really tough on yourself. You expect yourself to be where you were. But as far as what I had to adjust to, speed, running, and changing direction, my whole game, I felt like I slowed it down. I wasn't the person that rip and go, or just move as fast. I now slowed it down, read the defense a lot longer, and I think it actually made me a more efficient player because sometimes people think the game has to be played fast, and that's not that's not always the case. Sometimes understanding, slowing down, reading the defense, like that, taking that time will benefit you in the long end. So I mean, I believe it made me a better player. Who's to say, you know, if I never tore my ACL at the USA trials and I was on Team USA and, you know, things would have been different. But, you know, I'm definitely thankful for everything the way it played out. You know, I have no regrets about it. So
100%. No, that's fantastic. That's a positive way to look on it as well. So now, obviously, transition to a pro career. What was it like signing your first professional contract?
To be honest, it was very stressful. But then when it happened, I'm just like, woo, you know. But at the beginning, you don't really get a crash course of what professional life looks like in college for some reason. Like, there's just none. When I tell you there's none, you literally have to just ask your teammates that were before you, or hopefully you get a great agent that is well connected. That's just it. You go in blindsided. So you're picking your agents, you're interviewing people. Some are good and some are not so good. I ran into a few that were not so good at first, and then I finally found somebody that fit me. And then my first actual signing of my deal, I went to a place that, you know, hands down, everybody says was like a really good start for your professional career. I got, you know, financially, I felt good about it. And I had an amazing first year. So everything kind of, I mean, like I said, everything worked out perfectly for me. Everything worked out perfectly. But I did have to go through a couple trials with the agency. But as far as playing my first year in Israel, like, it was amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
Fantastic. And what division was that in Israel?
It's the first division. Yeah, I would know.
That's fantastic. Yeah,
I would,
light work.
Yeah.
Light work.
And I got to see like some of my teammates, like Markel Walker has been there, Direxia Morris, Rebecca Gardner, Efi Beckway, like a lot of people.
Yeah.
When I say Israel's like one of the top for men's and women's, it really is.
Oh, that's fantastic. And obviously you touched on your pro career. So, you know, currently you're playing in Spain, first division. So playing in places like Besiktas, Istanbul, Turkey, is there a different style and philosophies that you had to adjust to? Okay. So speak to us about that.
Well, one, there's a big difference between American basketball and European basketball. I feel like American basketball is played a lot faster, and a lot more points are, I believe, European basketball is mainly generated around shooting and outside game. That's we teach in America. We teach people to get to the rack first. Get to the rack. Those are easy buckets. In Europe, they teach. I believe in my league, there's a lot more shooting going on. That was one. So I had to adjust to becoming a better shooter outside the rim or outside the rink.
Okay.
And then I just felt like overall the reffing was a lot different. Some countries let you play, and they let you play like
they let you bang. Yeah, they let you play physical.
Yeah. If you don't get punched, no foul. No blood, no foul. But in European basketball, it's a little different, and it's a little harder because, you know, you can't really talk to the refs. So it's like they don't speak English, and so they look at you and just be like their hands are up, and I'm just like, I can't even explain how, you know, things happen. But there's a big difference, but you definitely learn the adjustments. There's a few rules that are different as far as like free throw line violations, when you can step in. They, I don't think they have the 3 second like the NBA does or the 5 second in the
Yeah.
key. I'm trying to think about more differences, but there's a few. But you
Yeah.
definitely adjust after your first year.
What was that adjustment period like through those first couple of games?
What was the adjustment like?
Yeah, it was adjustment period.
Oh, I'm gonna be honest. The biggest thing, I'm not hands down, was the traveling calls that I got. It was such a difference. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Um, I know sometimes, a little shuffle here and there. A lot of the times in the States, we move a lot faster. So they just kind of really let it go. But when you get to FIBA refs, and they're not NCAA refs anymore, they're FIBA refs. And that travel call has been one of the highest conflicts among refing in games. And so to me, I like to catch, swipe, and go.
Yeah.
And it's just
Rip
like
through.
travel. I'm like, travel? What are you guys talking about? Like I do this, I've been doing this at UCLA for years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was one of my biggest adjustments.
No, that's great. I can imagine so that rip through and go. Hey, you're thinking that's a bucket, but you
Yeah.
hear a whistle. that's a turnover. Oh, but that's great. That's great. And then obviously transitioning to international career in 2017, you won your first AfroBasket championship.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, playing for former coach James Vincent, NBA champion in his own right. Can you just tell us about that experience and what that meant representing Nigeria as well?
Yeah, so that was my first year actually on the team. And I was, brought in. Coach Sam, amazing coach, really good guy. Like you said, hands down, his resume speaks for himself.
Mm.
That year was very trying because we had a lot of obstacles on the team as far as just getting finances,
Yeah.
placing, like where can we stay, traveling. Everything was done a last minute. And when I mean last minute, I mean we would literally get to the games last
Yeah.
minute. So our bus wouldn't be on time, and we're just like, this is game day. The
Yeah.
food, we had a lot of things that were just not going right. But for us, that's what made that win a lot better. And to this day, I still say that was one of them. Like, it was so liberating to win that game or to win that AfroBasket because we went through a lot. And it was my first year on the team, so it's just like everything kind of wrapped into one made that tournament very special.
No, I can imagine so as well. Winning the first AfroBasket championship, and everything's going on, and you guys are still winning, still beating teams. Now that could be an amazing feeling. And then from transitioning off to that, you guys qualified to make the FIBA World Cup, playing against the likes of Australia, Canada, Greece, USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you tell us about what that experience as well, and what you took out from the tournament as well?
Yeah, so a lot of people think that, African teams are only good in Africa. But I think competing against or in the World Cup, this was our first international tournament where we can really say, like, hey, we're not just good in Africa anymore, and that is what really kind of opened the world to women's basketball for Nigeria. Because before then, we had really low rankings.
Yeah.
We were ranked as low as like 47, I believe. Yeah, really low rankings. And we just weren't really respected. And I just feel like coming into the World Cup, people perceived us as an underdog.
Yeah, slept
we came in there and we really made noise.
Yeah.
We competed with Team USA, was up at half. We beat Greece, beat Turkey. Those are two top 20 ranked teams.
Yeah.
And then we go on to play Team Canada, top 10. Yeah. So it's just like
etc.
We lost to Canada by 5, and the ending is. But and that was our first World Cup. You know what I mean? Or not in a long time. So it's like for us to have that experience and do that much in such a short period of time, it just shows that we were getting better every year. And I think we definitely left a mark and definitely now have the respect of a lot of teams. Before playing in Europe, when my national teams, my European teams for my regular season, they didn't really know about Team Nigeria. But now they know. Oh, your team is the team that is going to the Olympics. Yeah, you know it now, but you didn't know it 2017. But you know it now, and it's partially due to that platform, that World Cup platform.
That's fantastic. And for the viewers that don't know, Nigeria is currently ranked 13th in the world. So you guys, completely jumped the rankings as well. So congratulations you guys to you on that. So fast forward to 2019 AfroBasket just last year. The squad goes back to back, winning back to back AfroBasket championships.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell us what that experience was like. And you guys actually won the championship on Senegal's home floor, who was hosting the tournament as well.
Yeah, so that was another crazy event. There was a lot that went on there too. Uh, we got rice thrown at us during the games, eggs
Oh,
thrown
wow.
at our locker room, whatever you think of. People, banging on our bus. It was the gym was actually so packed that they set up a jumbo screen outside for the locals to view. That's how crowded it was. And it's not a gym; it's
Mm-hmm.
an arena, just like the Staples Center. So you can imagine. I mean, I have a few pure nothing is left open inside.
Mm-hmm.
People are sitting in the aisleway sometimes, which is not, so not only was it crowded, it was overly crowded, minimal security to the point where they can throw eggs and rice at us during the game while we're in the timeout. We're like, hello, can somebody help? you know um and then, everybody thought the first year we won, okay, there's no way you guys are going to go back to back. Like, you guys haven't really been up there. But once again, you underestimated what we can do. And we came in there hands down. I mean, not to say it was easier than the first one, but I can guarantee you 2017 was a lot harder. Um, this past AfroBasket, the environment was harder, but the games, we were getting so much better. We've added players. We're training better. We have longer training periods. 2017, we had a 1 month before the tournament. Now we're training, 2 months, 2.5 months. It's a whole different atmosphere. So we came in and really just put our foot down for a lot of teams. And I think hands down, we earned it and we got the respect that we deserve. So
That's fantastic.
yeah.
That's fantastic, 100%. And obviously, that you have yourself, Kalu, Ep4 as well,
Mm-hmm.
Elenu, you guys, and Kalu as well. You guys have a really strong squad. Just to name a few, I don't want to leave anyone out, but just to name a few.
No, yeah. Half of us play in Spain, half of us play in France. We're all scattered. We all are on good top Division 1 teams. Every year we play an international tournament. It only helps our overall individual platform. So yeah, we're all doing really well.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, as we said, Nigeria is currently ranked 13th. What do you think is the next step for Nigeria to crack that top 10 for you guys as well?
Honestly, we had a lot of things lined up this summer. We had a lot of teams, a lot of top 10 teams that we were going to scrimmage against, play against. But honestly, it would have been, the Olympics. We would have came in with the Olympics with a good ranking. I believe, I want to say there's 18 slots. It's either 18 or 24. 18 or 24. I don't want to.
I'm not sure. I'm not too sure myself. I should.
But the next thing would have been just to play in the Olympics and see if we can move up that ranking from there. We had high expectations because we're coming in with the same squad, maybe adding one or two to just, and like I said, every year we've gotten better. So what makes that this year any different?
Yeah.
And then I really believe that the reflection after the Olympics would have helped our overall ratings.
Yeah. And I completely agree as well because even take the FIBA World Cup for example, you guys beating Greece, close game with Canada, obviously close competition to the halftime to USA. Like one thing I really do admire about you guys is your tempo, up pace tempo, your defense, the way that you guys run your offense. So I really like the way that you guys play as well. And obviously you force teams to play at your tempo as well, which is fantastic. So
yeah,
that's great basketball. Now down to our last question now. Have you had any challenges, as a woman playing professional sports?
Challenges. I mean, hands down, the question I get asked a lot is like relationship challenges, and honestly, that's one of the biggest ones. Other than there's two. Actually, I should go back. Relationship challenges and financial challenges. We play just as long as the men's team plays. They might play maybe a month more than us. And yes, it might be true that they probably fill up the arena a little bit more, but hands down, we don't get paid nearly as much as they get. I remember my first 2 years and my salary was getting kind of compared to the salary of the men's second division.
Yeah.
So it was just like, and you know, like I said, I was a reputable player in that league. So the first division is making something that nobody on the women's side is making. But the second division, that is what equates to the women's first division. And to me, that was just honestly a slap in the face. We're putting in the same hours. You know, some women's teams bring in the same amount crowd. And it was just like, why is it that sponsors or teams are funding men and just not really helping or fund women? And so financially, that was the biggest one.
Yeah.
Which sucks because we're still going through it. But I know the WNBA is working out a lot of deals to make, you know, that equality balance better. But we'll see. And fingers crossed. Well, now that we have this pandemic, you know, it's just going to not be so well, or it's going to suck all over again. But the financial thing was one. And then relationship is two. You know, I travel year round. And my season is eight months. And so that leaves me a few months to see my family, go on a vacation, and do whatever extracurricular activity I want to do in the States. So it's not a lot of time. But yeah, so those are the two biggest challenges as a woman.
Basically, I feel the same way. Women's basketball is not really, it's not as respected, but it really should be. You guys do the same amount of work. You guys put in the hours to, you know, to perfect your craft. And women's basketball is very enjoyable to watch. So hopefully, you know, as time goes on, the salary cap increases, and women's basketball gets more exposure as well. No, that's good. Have you got any advice for young female hoopers out there as well? You know, young aspiring female hoopers.
Oh yeah, a lot of people ask me, DM me, and I'm always open. Like, one thing I always tell people, I'm always open to help anybody. If you need help, I will definitely reach out, and I'll do as much as what's in my power, you know? So the number one question I always get asked is, you know, what is my experience like? They just want to know. Like, remember at the beginning, I just said, there's no information out there about what it is like overseas. And the only thing that people can compare it to is like loving basketball, watching Monica. And that very short, you know, she's in Italy, you know, that's all people know about. But they don't know how the agent goes, how the contracts go, how that negotiation, which is a big portion, they don't realize that sometimes you can make more in the States with a regular job than you can make overseas. But there's some times where you can make overseas, but you can't make here, you know, so it goes both ways. And they don't know. A lot of women don't know. And I've gotten questions from men too. I've gotten questions from men basketball players just wanting to know. A lot of people don't know what their scale is and what their value is overseas. I came from a D1. Does that mean I get, you know, 5 to 10K? Or if I came from a D2, is it possible that I can get on a team? What I say is, one, anything is possible, and there's plenty of avenues. If you have the skill set, now don't get me wrong, you have to have some type of skill, but anything is possible, and don't give up on your dreams if you know you're a good player. Now, also, you can't just think you're a good player, okay? Because, you know, I have siblings and I see kids and everybody thinks they're a good player, but if you are truly a good player, you have the skill set, you have the film, then there's a place, there's an avenue, there's a place for you.
100%, 100%.
I've even worked men's summer camps. I work, I think a big one is Las Vegas in the summer for men's basketball. They do this big like NBA thing, and they have not D League, but if you're not NBA there, there's always summer camps with scouts. So it's like I do those on the men's side. We don't really have them on the women's side like that. We have one per year, and my head coach actually runs one down south, you know, but it's a combine in the summer. But I've helped run the men's, so I understand the process of not getting an agent or not getting a deal right out of college, but still having to hustle. But I've seen people get contracts. So like I said, it's really just up to how hard you're willing to work.
And you touched on skills. obviously the people who watch your tape, you drive to the basket, you shoot the mid range at a very high level. You can rebound well, you can pass as well. So can you speak a little bit on your preparation on your game, and who did you kind of emulate? Who did you watch? Who did you take tips off?
Yeah, so
From your game.
I tell people all the time, a few people that I've watched, to be honest, as a kid, I'm a Lakers fan. I watched a lot of Kobe and Lamar. That's on the men's side.
Yeah.
Lamar Odom, to me, was the swing man that
Oh,
I
okay.
watched.
Yeah.
On the women's side, I'll never forget the first time I seen Maya Moore and Diana Taurasi play. Amazing. I was in high school, and I'm just like,
Did you play
I
against?
was.
Did you get play against Diana Taurasi in the FIBA World Cup as well?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
So,
did.
all right, cool.
So,
Well,
but just
yeah.
the first time seeing her play was, I must have been about 15 years old. And I was just like, the tournaments that we go to, Oregon and Tennessee, small AAU tournaments. I
Mm,
said, what? I don't know how to do that kind of. Yeah, I remember it was Maya Moore in Arizona. And
yeah.
I was just like, wow, who is she?
Mm,
And my coach told me, and I was just like, okay, yeah, she's it. Cause
mm,
she was so athletic, the athleticism. And then, so besides those two, also Lisa Leslie growing up, because she went to a local high school that's 15 minutes away from me.
okay.
And that actually, my mom used to work at. So I had a connection with the coach that trained her. And then when she made it to the WNBA, it was just like, she's so close. And yeah, so I kind of just watched her, went to a few camps, and she was there. And I just overall liked her game, liked her hustle, her spirit. I
Yeah.
appreciate players that honestly, you're a good person on the court, but you're also an even better person off the court, because that makes a big difference in who's willing to work with you and the deals that you do get.
Yeah, and that goes a long way in terms of the basketball, professional basketball environment, because
Yeah.
coaches speak to other coaches, well,
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
do they?
yeah,
Do they?
yeah,
Look,
so,
I didn't know this until you start being on college. You're locked
mm,
in. You're
yeah,
not going nowhere. Professional, you sign a contract. Doesn't matter. They will cut you.
yeah,
I've seen a lot of bad mouthing of people and players, and it is part of the business. It is
yeah,
part of the business. I try to stay away from it because I don't want to get locked into something and my name get. But it's
yeah,
part of the business. It's ups and downs, and you have to just learn it. So when you're talking to people, don't badmouth somebody, because it comes back to you, and it just is.
yeah.
So
Big facts, big facts. You touched a couple of times during this interview. You spoke about a lot on your mental makeup and your mindset. So can you just speak to us about what's your preparation like, or how do you like look at the game, or look at a certain matchup like, okay, I'm going against this person. Like,
yeah,
what do you do?
that's a good question. Anybody that knows me on game days, even the night before, I'm actually really serious. So I do nothing. I
Yeah.
honestly, I do my routine. So before the game, it is routine time. And if you
Mm,
distract that routine, you will see my other side, because I'm very superficial in that, like,
mm,
I like the same socks. I need to wear the same shoes. My hair, my meals have to be right. I don't like distractions on any accord on game day. My
mm,
family knows, if you have an issue, please do not call me before the game, because it will
yeah.
distract me. I'm a
Yeah.
mental player, which means
Mm,
I get thrown off if my focus is not
focus.
there. So
Yeah.
that's one. So please don't distract me game day. And as far as the game actual preparation, obviously film. Film starts 2 to 3 days before the game, and it's usually mandatory. So you could say
Yeah.
it's mandatory. So we're gonna watch it regardless. But as far as me, I lock into the player that I'm most likely going to be guarding. I watch them. You look at their stats, look at what their high percentages are, look at what their low percentages are. I know if they're a shooter or a driver off the back. I
Mm,
know if we need to double team. But usually I'm a good defender, so I just study their tendencies, right or left hand. But that's another trait that I kind of learned in college. High school, you don't really critique individuals
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
College, you break them down, right or left, hook shot, jump shot, fadeaway. Like you have to really kind of
Examine the
understand the
offensive
person.
package. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
honestly, it makes a difference. When you make a player do something that they're uncomfortable doing, their shooting percentages go down, their confidence goes down. You know, all of that plays into a factor. So studying the game is actually, I take it really serious. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. And then you obviously you touched on it before, but what was it like playing against, you know, your childhood role model, Diana Taurasi? What was that like?
Yeah. So at the beginning, some of us on the team were like, we don't know if we should get the picture first or wait till after the game. Because at the end of the day, we're here for business. We're happy to be here, but come
Yeah.
on, like we
Yeah.
grew up trying to watch these players. Like, and I'm just thankful that I do have pictures, but I do have pictures. They were taken on the court by a FIBA photographer,
Yeah.
so I didn't have to like do a pose picture. But it's some of your idols, And at first I was just like, I don't want to be, that person. But then I'm just like, you're not gonna get another opportunity, okay? You don't know what might happen. You're not gonna get another. That's like having one of your favorite NBA players, and just because you're playing up against them, you're too scared to say so.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, I mean, I got pictures of Deladon, Diana,
Okay. Wow.
NECA. So I have pictures of at least the starting five.
Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, I like playing against high competition because it shows you what do you do against high competition. That's the type of player that I want to be effective and efficient, not playing against the players that, I don't want to say lower, but the players that are not as elite. But when you go against the top, the cream of the crop, and you show out, then, that kind of adds to your overall worth to say, hey, I am the player I think I am.
100%. 100%. That's great. That's great. So now we just transition to a few quick fire questions, and then we just wrap this up.
Okay, cool.
So you said you already went into this favorite WNBA player. Favorites to win the NBA right now if the season does come back.
Favorite
to win the NBA championship.
Oh, I'm always that's an easy one. The Lakers, yeah. I'm born and raised, yeah.
Your boys got it locked down, yeah.
Yeah, now and honestly, I was only a big Kobe fan. Other than that, I do like a few players, but as far as teams, there's no other team that I've even sided with. Sorry, not even Golden State, even though they're from California. Yeah.
And then sum up the places in one word that you've played in, okay? So Istanbul.
You're telling me to describe the experience, or
so some of the experience that you've played in these places in one word.
Oh, in one word.
Yeah, one word.
My experience in Istanbul. Honestly, I would just say no. That's not. The first thing that came to my mind is fun, because me and my teammates actually went out when we were there, so that was fun. And I guess that's the one. It's hard. One word.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. I only have one word, so I don't know what to say. But
I could give you another one.
I would just say fun and new. Like my first time on the national team, we had our first couple games in Istanbul, and so fun. It was a new experience. And a lot of people have Turkey on the high end of women's basketball, and so to play against them and to compete, I just think it was an experience overall that I enjoyed.
Also, I would like to touch on was it also like living off the court? Was it living in a different country? Did you learn the language? Was there a language barrier?
I try, and you get to so many countries, and I'm not gonna lie, I think that was one of my biggest regrets is not learning the language. But it's like, what can I do? I'm traveling all the time. I guess I can pick up 15 different languages, but I'm traveling so often. My biggest regret is not learning the language. But my first few years, I had roommates, which were fun, and now obviously in my contracts, own apartment. But so it was fun having roommates. My first few years and interacting, like it was like college all over again. So I loved it.
That sounds like a great experience as well. And then Turkey.
Well, Istanbul's in Turkey.
Oh, it was about, sorry,
Yeah.
Senegal.
Senegal, I would say crazy, because or dangerous. Honestly, like as much, or I would also say I don't want to cultured because there was a lot of things that I just like just looking around the city, I just loved. I fell in love with. I'm just like I love seeing culture in different communities. Like
Yeah,
that's the one thing because in California or just in American in general, we don't have a lot of in-depth values or traditions, I should say. So a lot of these traditions come from other countries or immigrant families. We don't have any California traditions other than going to the beach, you know, nothing very in-depth. So going to Senegal, I would just say culture. It comes to mind because I can just remember just walking, seeing the people, seeing how passionate they were for their women's team. I was like,
yeah,
oh my gosh,
yeah. It
we
was
got
the
this much
arena was
love.
packed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The arena was
They
yeah,
love their women's team. Billboards,
yeah.
everything. They invest in them. I remember they came in second for that tournament, and it was rumored that each one of them got a house in Senegal. And I was just like, huh? But we won. And
That's great.
but that was that. But yeah, so I love the culture there. I will say that.
And you touched on you know, they were throwing rice and eggs, and obviously you're locked into the game. But can you speak on that experience and how you maintained focus to let yet again to still win the final and still go and to beat the home team?
Yeah, so for probably all of us, that was the first time experience of experiencing fan
Yeah.
fan whatever. Um, so we were kind of at shock the blue, like, does the game stop or what happens? So the refs kind of stopped, the security kind of, you know, gathered, and like that was the first time experience for us. So we didn't
Mm-hmm.
know what to do because at this point, at the end of the day, you're still in a foreign country. All you really have for protection is your teammates and your coaches, which
Mm-hmm.
probably cannot do much against an arena of Senegalese fans, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so FIBA doesn't have their own security. The security is the arena for
Yeah.
so
Security.
and they
Yeah.
have a few here and there. So it's just like a little bit scared, like what if they really wanted to try to rah and go for their team? So yeah, a little scary feeling of what could possibly happen because it wasn't just on the bench. They were able to get to the locker room. And so at
Okay.
that point we're like, who's
Yeah.
doing this? And where's security? So if you're able to access me so closely, you know, it's a little bit
Yeah.
like, okay, this is getting a little too serious.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so I would just say a little scary.
Yeah. And then last place, Spain, where you're currently playing in now.
Spain, I love Spain. It's so beautiful. I would just say beautiful. The landscape there, I fell in love with. In Spain, we do a lot of long drives. Some countries you fly, some countries you do long drives. Israel, we didn't do a trip over 30 minutes, which was heaven, you know. But in
Mm-hmm.
Spain, we drive for 6 hours. We will drive for 6 hours. So I just think um, the landscape and the food was really good. Um, it's a breath of fresh air not to be sometimes in the city, but I think this year I will be playing in the city. But overall, I was in a smaller town, and it's just like fresh air to just, you know, see people walking, and the whole livelihood is just slowed down. LA is very fast.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're not
I'm
driving 65, you're probably gonna get bonked at. So I just think Spain, it just had a slower feel to it, and it allowed you to kind of just enjoy life a little bit more, like just take a breath of fresh air, which you
yeah.
don't really get to do. I'm not saying you can't make time to do because we're in quarantine now, but
Yeah.
it's just like in LA, there's always something you're doing. But in Spain, it's like you have time, so it was nice. I love it. That's why I'm going back. So
Yeah. That answers someone else's question. Say they asked what are your plans for next year back to Spain. That's what one person
yeah,
asked.
so
Um,
I'm not sure if I can disclose the contract and everything because you know it's on their end and how they
yeah,
recruit and yeah. But yeah, my plans are to go back to Spain. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Generic little answer. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And then we've got one Q&A question asked here from the audience. So
Uh-huh.
one person asked, what was it like playing for such a respected university in UCLA?
Oh yeah. UCLA. Not only did I feel like that's kind of what helped mold me and shape me, but To be honest, my recruiting process was very kind of straightforward. My dad only was like California, just
Okay.
California. So California or Ivy League. He's a
Okay.
Nigerian parent, so my dad was like Ivy League or California.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay. So I went to USC. It was okay. I went to UCLA. I loved it there. Stanford, I talked to, but it was just like, it's very far from LA. It's in Stockton. So it's like, it's past the bay, a little bit past the bay. And so I would not get to see my family. I had 5 siblings. So family is very big on us. And I knew that I would have to be somewhere close. So to be honest, it was UCLA or USC.
No.
And I just fell in love with UCLA. And the standard at UCLA is very high. You know, you do what you're there to do. And then they treat it as if like, if this was your job, how would you treat your working environment? You would come to work on time. You would do the things you need to do, you know, to
Yeah.
get your scholarship. And so I like the professionalism that Coach Corey Close kind of implemented into the program. And also I feel like she kind of invested more into the players' mental well-being, which is something new that a lot of coaches are now starting to do that did not do back then. Back then it's like, what's wrong with you? Okay, you need to get on the court and you need to, you know, but now it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, let's evaluate what's happening. How do you feel? You know, those type of questions that can actually help a player, because a lot of people say basketball is 90% mental and it's 10% skill. You have
Yeah.
to have the mental maturity to understand the game. That's what makes you a better player. Not just anybody can just, you know, there's a lot of people, street ball players, Venice players, you know, that but do you understand the game? And that's what separates a good player from a great player, the better understanding. So yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So again, we want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you. I know I appreciate it's early in California, so thank you again. Thank you for coming
No,
on.
thank you for having me. Hopefully I answered anyone's questions. Once again, if like you have anything else, just hit me up. I anything.
We got one more last minute question. 3 women's players to watch in the WNBA and overseas.
Well, that would be me, of course. But I'm just gonna answer it 3 players that I would watch. I would say, and so like hands down, I still love Maya Moore because of who she is as a person too. She does a lot of humanitarian work. Not that other people don't, but I love what she does off the court. And obviously, she's an amazing person on the court. I think Diana Taurasi, because of her longevity in the WNBA, she's had a great playing career, start to finish. And I would also say these players because they are swing players like myself, so I could be having a biased opinion. I don't want to go away from like point guards or post players, you know. So these are players that play the 3 position.
Go for the heart. Do what you do, yeah.
They play my position, so I think that's why I kind of gravitated to watching them. Yeah, and as far as overseas, me and I guess I would nominate my teammates, Ezine and Promise.
No, that's great. That's fantastic. If it's not too much, but could you speak on rest in peace, Kobe, and just his inspiration to you, and like what he, and like his influence in your game and what he meant to you?
Yeah, so like I said, growing up, my household was a Lakers watching household. So we watch Lakers day in, day out.
No Clippers. No Clippers.
No.
Okay, cool. That's
no. That honestly, no disrespect to the Clippers, because you know they're better now. But when I was a kid, I kid you not, sometimes their games would be free. Their games would be free.
Yeah.
That's how terrible it was.
Yeah.
But they're better now.
Yeah.
So I can't complain. But yes, Kobe. Growing up watching him as an idol, for one, I hands down everything he put into basketball. It's just like, you know, all of LA's seen it. He's kind of like a LeBron to me, where it's like he's idolized. You know, very few mess ups, hiccups, but always speaking positivity, always speaking on how to build yourself as a player, as a leader at that. And I felt like that's kind of where I resonated or loved him, because he was a great leader. He was a leader for his family. He was a leader for his teammates. And he was also a leader for the community, how to hold yourself as a player. And outside of his skill, that is unquestionable. The way he carried himself was beyond measures. So that is what I most admired. And like you said, rest in peace. And he'll always be remembered. He was a great, and hands down, you know, it's a tragedy about what happened. The community definitely took it really hard. He didn't start his career here, but he definitely started
Yeah, 100%.
a big wave, and just
mama mentality, 100%.
Yeah. And like, I have teammates that, you know, coach his daughter down, you know, in Orange County, or and so it was just like very well connected. Me
100%.
personally, I never got to train under him, even though I've seen him train a few WNBA players. I would have loved that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
that's fantastic.
It's tough.
And again, we just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on Adepoju Spotlight. I hope we didn't take too much of your time. You know,
no, thank you.
Okay, so Atonye Nyingifa, sorry. So thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. All
right. Bye.
All right, bye guys.
Bye. So that was Adepoju Spotlight, episode 4, I believe. The full episode would be on YouTube and other Facebook as well. So just stay tuned. We've got more content to come, and more professional basketball players to come on this live stream as well. So hope you guys stay safe, and stay safe as well. Stay safe and keep balling.